do in this stream? What am I gonna do? So I would suggest to you folks, and I'm gonna do JDGT. Why is that thick? Why is that thick box? Why you will do that? I suggest we do this one. Which one? Which other ones are fun? Which other ones are fun? I might have to. Oh god. So I might have to. No. Where's the other top one? I'm gonna very quickly talk. You know what? I'm gonna start off with this. I'm gonna start off with something. So, last time you will remember me talking about how good Knight was at snowballing the game versus Gum. So that would have been top versus. That would have been top versus Gum. So, because I really want to chat about something which has really pissed me off in some ways. XL coffee. I too have a coffee. It's not extra large. But there's some itemization stuff which I really want to talk about because it's really important and it really annoys me when I see some of this stuff. So we're going to skip into this game. Because this is, so as you might remember in this game, is my camera in the right place? It is. Cool. We'll work with that. So this was a game where very early on, we get this play. And you come away with like Knight being, why is it so thick? It's a scroll wheel thing. When I scroll wheel, it makes the box thick. But at this point, okay. Let me just turn the music down very slightly. Is the music okay for you guys? Or is it okay for you guys? Or is it too loud? Might be too loud. I can take it down like one notch. So, we have... yeah, I'll drop it down like another one, and I'll just put my headphones up so I can listen to it. I don't... Because Ahri is also kind of thick. True. So you have a 202 Ahri with 6 Dark Seal stacks. That is like prime... Upgrade Magi's early because you've already got gold efficiency when you upgrade from the Dark Steel up to Magi's. And in this game, you already have Merc Treads, so you're unlikely to get 100 to 0 by the primary loss condition for you as Ahri, which is getting absolutely shut out again by these two. You're also able to kind of disengage with... I actually do think Everfrost is fine this game because you're not... In this game, because you have like... such snowballed like Sivir and Ahri, you're not actually lacking damage for once in your life. So you can go towards Everfrost and you can bump up your damage back with Magi's. You can disengage with Everfrost against particularly these two if they have a jump at you, and you have Merc Treads for these two as well. So at this point, Ahri is like, I am chilling. I'm so chilling. So you already have Stopwatch, Merc Treads, and you've started stacking a Dark Seal. Ahri needs no more survivability than these two items in this game. These two items are legitimately everything you need. You also have a spellbook. Like, you don't need to go any more defensive. You don't need to go any more utility. You're fine. So what Knight ends up doing is a little later in, you'll see... I'm trying to remember when the next set of kills come in. Oh, yeah, it doesn't happen bot side. So this is a replay. Yeah, it's this dragon fight. Which really... yeah. Because basically after this dragon fight... Knight gets like a triple kill. Really good awareness to get the Q return. Blah, blah, blah. Mechanically well played. But then after this fight, let's stop back in on this again. You are still at the point where you have like these two items here are like all the survivability you need. You have Spellbook and you have a Yuumi. You are not dying this game. You have a 10 stack Dark Seal. So like Knight takes the game into his own hands. It's a great song as well, actually. He takes the game into his own hands, and like he builds up his Everfrost, right? Sure, Mythic. And then after that, he gets his Magi's. So you have the legendary item from the Magi's, which means that you get an extra 10 AP from the Everfrost. You're getting that bump up there. You have the 10 stacks. You have a move speed differential against an immobile mid laner, which is really annoying. So Syndra has to play a lot more defensively because you've got that extra ability to dodge skill shots and gap close. And then immediately after that point, he sits on the stopwatch because he knows he doesn't need any more than one active. Like, you're not forced to use your stopwatch that much. And then after that point, way later in, he gets a couple of fights under as well, and he goes towards Death Gap. To me, this is like the perfect snowball build. This is a great snowball build. So this is really cool to see Knight going, all right, I'm not going to die. Let's go for the most efficient damage build I can. And effectively just ends up like slaughtering this game. Why is this happening? Is it because I'm clicking a dragon? I don't think I was clicking dragon. He has 25 Magi stacks. This is the perfect example of an Ahri snowball game. So that's great. Cool. Keep that in mind because it's very gold efficient. You're bumping up a load of gold and a load of... you're bumping up a load of AP beyond what you should technically have. And let's go compare this to Genji versus CFO. Where was that? This one. Because this really annoyed me, man. This really annoyed me, this game. Because it's a similar kind of game where like Ahri is cool. Chovy, mechanical plays. This is actually a really good thing. Chovy is a great mechanical player. He didn't know how to build this game. I'm sorry, he really didn't. In this game, you're against the Lee Sin Syndra, which means that Merc Treads have less value for sure. But you still have shields from the Lux. You still have a spellbook, and you can sit on the stopwatch early. You're still fine here. And then if we track his item path through this game, because he's still ahead, he's against a matchup which is built Merc Treads as well. As soon as Syndra goes Merc Treads, you realize you're unlikely to die in a 1v1 there as well. Chovy's just build is like way too focused on utility. It's way too focused on utility. Like, what is this? Like, I get that Everfrost is actually okay this game. It's got particular value versus these two, because landing a slow into Callista if you dive into her means that she can't fight. Pyke can't just run away. And these, and particularly like the Renekton just can't fight into you if he ever gets hit by an Everfrost. So that's cool. I like that. What the hell is this, man? You are meant to be a damage carry at this point. If you're snowballing at this point, you get some early kills under your belt. I mean, sure, you can put them under your. Don't put kills under your bed. Don't keep the skeletons there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, but this Morello, Ahri is already not really the person who should be applying anti-heal in this comp, I don't feel like. I feel like even... I mean, so what are you dealing with? You're dealing with a Gore Drinker? You're dealing with a Renekton? Like, it's not even like a Gore Drinker or a Blade first, it's Black Cleaver first. It's like, there's no healing. And Ahri is also a champion which can't... Ahri is not a champion which has enough damage to spare for you to go, don't worry, team, I'll help you out. If you do that, you are functionally doing nothing in this game. And we'll see later into this game, Chovy chooses to do this, and you can see how little he does. And it really annoys me. It really annoys me, because Knight was in a similar position and carried the fuck out of that game. Like, hang on. Sorry, I'm sorry. Carried the out of that game. We're a family-friendly stream now. But it just really got on my nerves, because Chovy is such a good mechanical player. And it's just he's not helping himself. He's just not helping himself in these fights. This game should be over. This game is like completely gone after CFO like lose the first 15 minutes of the game. This game should be completely done. And it's like, okay, why are you going for a Fiendish Codex? Because you've still got the stopwatch in inventory. You haven't upgraded your Dark Seal, so you're losing out on potential stack value. You're already, at this point of the game, this game should be over. You take one good fight, you aren't dying, you're getting loads of stacks because you're not dying, right? You get to preserve your stacks very, very well. And then after this, it's like, you've gone Morello, you've gone Zhonya's. You don't need more than the single stopwatch active in this game. Because the only time you're using stopwatch is when you're diving into the enemy team and killing all of them. And at that point, you're using that to supercharge your Dark Seal because you're getting huge amounts of damage and potential kill participation onto your Magi's. Like, yeah, but what if he dies? Oh boy. He shouldn't be. This game should be over. At 26 minutes, this game... There were a couple of fights before this where like Chovy should have really taken this over. Also, hey Corporal, how's it going? And Splat, got a load of the regulars in chat, but good to see you, Corporal. I just really hate this mentality, because, like, you see how Knight played out the game from a similar spot, and, like, it's not even close, the amount of impact they had on the game. Chovy is a great mechanical player. He should have had so much more impact. And it just really, really gets on my nerves, because it's like, okay, cool, you now have Magi's now. Magi's gets worse as the game goes on in a lot of ways, when you upgrade it, because the whole idea is, the later you go on with a Magi's, the more of a victory lap it is. The more it's like, it's not actually going to impact the game. You're just buying it because you had the Dark Seal to upgrade. At second item, it's like, it's already efficient. At this point, it actually gets you ahead of the build. A late game Magi's is not the same as a second item Magi's. Second item Magi's gets you ahead of the curve. Late game Magi's are just saying, haha, I now have slightly more AP. It's not nearly the same. Because every time you have a fight where you have a Dark Seal instead of a Magi's, and you live, which is what you should be doing as an Ahri, you're losing value from it, right? And oh, it gets me, it does. It gets me. I did get quite apoplectic, quite angry, shall we say. Baron, this fight, like, you're 30 minutes in with a comp that looks like this. You're 30 minutes in and you are within 2,000 gold. This shouldn't happen, folks. This shouldn't happen. This game should be over. Oh, God. This game should not be that close. It genuinely shouldn't be. Oh, man. And it's like later on, it's like, wow, you now have 16 stacks. What if you had 25 stacks and you can go into a death cap third? Like, I think there's a particular fight where there's a fight in top jungle. There's a couple of fights here which really annoy me. This isn't the one. I mean, like, that one's different. Where's the fight in top river? I think it might be this one, actually. Yeah, this one. Let's look at this fight. Let's look at how little Chovy does. Reminder, 36 minutes in, 6-0-7. Like, okay, cool, nice. Well, what's Chovy doing in this? Like, sure. You don't even need to use stopwatch there. And there's a point after this. No, this isn't the one. This isn't the one. There's one slightly earlier into the game. I'm trying to think of this one fight which happens around top. This is the one. This is it. Because this is a fight which I feel like if you have efficient itemization, because he doesn't even have Magi's at this point, right? If you have efficient itemization at this point, this fight is completely run over. Like if you have efficient itemization, this doesn't get close. Look at this. This is already a good start from Genji. They catch 2 on the teleport in. Chovy comes in, uses a spellbook exhaust, and like he pretty much fails to kill the Callista in a meaningful time span. Like that person should have been dead. Misses the charm up here, but even with that, like the amount of damage which Chovy is putting out for this point in the game for being this far ahead is just not it. This is not it. And this is what games like this lead to people saying that Ahri doesn't do damage. Ahri does damage, you just don't know how to build for It really annoys me. It really annoys me because this is the kind of fight which you should run over as an Ahri, 100%. And this is far too close. This is a 4 for 2. This should have been a clean ace. And if you get the pike resets in this game, in that fight, also mission lives because again, this is not a Magi's. This is not a death cap in there somewhere. You wasted money on a Zhonya's upgrade because you only need the one stopwatch. Like, there are so many things wrong with this build. If this is a stopwatch, you have saved 2,000 gold. If you have saved 2,000 gold, that is an extra upgrade here. And if you haven't gone for Morello's, that is a Magi's and a death cap, and you have a stopwatch as well. That is a one-shot Syndra. That is a one-shot Callista. These are champions which should not be able to fight when you are this far ahead of the game. Because at this point, Ahri has the luxury of sitting on some gold and getting some upgrades beyond just like upgrading a stopwatch or something like that. Not sold on the second item death cap. No, it's third item death cap because you go, if you go mythic, so you do the knight build in terms of what he showed against Gum. You go mythic, Magi's, and then death cap. You have so much more AP. You have so much more AP. Because remember, a fully stacked Magi's is 140 AP, something like that. That's the highest AP item in the game. Everfrost gives you AP for, I mean, either if it was a Ludens or if it was a Magi's, you either get Magic Pen or you get yourself AP. And that means that the Magi's being a cheaper item gives you an extra bump up in power there. And then because you're ahead of the curve, the death cap just multiplies all of that stuff which you're already ahead by. It just gets you so far ahead of the curve. Like, if Koala gets the reset here, this fight becomes really interesting, actually. Because this Pike would actually be in a slightly better position to fight. He would actually not be caught out in this brush. He'd be slightly further north. He'd be able to use the second E to kill off Lahens. Even if he has to force flash there, there is a good chance that the Pike returns around this fight. And that should never happen. That should never happen. Also, Chovy, the way he's dashing over walls here, he's actually missing out on his ult charges here. He's actually not doing damage because he's dashing too far away from them. Actually, he can't do it in that case. That case is whatever, because like he just needs to get over the wall. But like, it gets on my nerves, folks, because I really like Chovy as a player. I think Chovy mechanically is one of the best, particularly Ahri players in the world, but he's one of the best mechanical team fights in the world. And this just doesn't help. This just doesn't help. It's the same kind of thing where he's building a lot of crown in games, which shouldn't really be happening as well. And this isn't isolated to him as a player, but I think he's a particular standout example of a great player who's being held back by item builds. It really annoys me. It really, really annoys me. Back around, because I started talking about Magi's, like, second rush, like, Luden's Magi's on champions like Ahri, early into the year. Very start of the year, actually. And when it came to spring finals for the LEC, Caps built it. And I was sat there like, holy moly, vindication, someone's finally done it. And then you had players like him, Knight, and Yagao, particularly, snowballing off of Magi's and understanding that, actually, if I just play normally in this game, I get so much value from the Magi's and I'm not going to die. Like, And yet we're still like a full season into this, like a full year into the season now. We're at Worlds, and people still haven't got the memo about how to itemize the snowballing AP mid laner. It really infuriates me. Backlund in the NLC had some solo carry performance as well, which is really fun on the Medjais. But I don't know. Caps has always been a Medjais connoisseur, and he uses it well, and he's really good at snowballing the game off of it, and it really annoys me, man. It really annoys me. All right, let me. Yeah, Harold, you can come jump into call now. I'm done with my Medjais run. Maybe chat needs to have a bit of a brief reprieve from it. Oh god. Okay, but yeah, that was something. Hey Harold, how's it going? Also, similar kind of thing. If anyone like is kind of like a, I don't know, mutual, I guess, on various social medias, I do have a Discord channel in my Discord, which is linked below the stream, and it's also my link tree as well on my socials. You can come and hang out and chat about the games if you so wish.